So let's finish the 32nd chapter of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. It's a feast for the workers. King Arthur's there pretending to be Jones. The boss is there. He paid for a bunch of stuff. And the stuff is getting shown off. And let's can pick up from there. From this out, the madam piled up with surprises, with a rush that fired the general astonishment up to 150 in the shade, and at the same time paralyzed expression of it, down to gasped ohs and ahs and mute uplifting of hands and eyes. She fetched crockery, new and plenty of it, new wooden goblets and other table furniture, and beer, fish, chicken, a goose, eggs, roast beef, roast mutton, a ham, a small roast pig, and a wealth of genuine white wheaten bread. Take it by and large that spread laid everything far and away in the shade that ever that crowd had seen before, and while they sat there just simply stupefied with wonder and awe, I sort of waved my hand as if by accident, and the shopkeeper's son emerged from space and said he had come to collect. "That's all right," I said indifferently. "What's the amount? Give us the items." Then he read off this bill. Well, those three amazed men listened, and serene waves of satisfaction rolled over my soul, and alternative waves of terror and admiration surged over Marco's. 2 pounds salt, 200. 8 dozen pints of beer in the wood, 800. 3 bushels of wheat, 2,700. 2 pounds of fish, 100. 3 hens, 400. 1 goose, 400. 3 dozen eggs, 150. A roast beef, 450. A roast of mutton, 400. 1 ham, 800. 1 suckling pig, 500. 2 crockery dinner sets, 6,000. 2 men's suits and underwear, 2,800. 1 stuff and 1 linsey woolsey gown and underwear, 1,600. 8 wooden goblets, 800. Various table furniture, 10,000. 1 deal table, 3,000. 3 stools, 4,000. 2 miller guns, loaded, 3,000. He ceased. There was a pale and awful silence. Not a limb stirred, not a nostril betrayed the passage of birth. "Is that all?" I asked, in a voice of most perfect calmness. "All fair, sir, save that certain matters of light moment are placed together under a head height sundries. If it would like you, I will separate." "It is of no consequence," I said. "It is of no consequence," I said, accompanying the words with a gesture of the most utter indifference. "Give me the grand total, please." The clerk leaned against the tree, stayed himself, and said, 39,150 milrays. The wheelwright got off his stool, and the others grabbed the table to save themselves, and there was a deep and general ejaculation of, "God be with us on this day of disaster." The clerk hastened to say, "My father charges me to say he cannot honorably require you to pay it all at this time, and therefore only prayeth you." I paid no more heed than if it were the idle breeze, but, with an air of indifference amounting almost to weariness, got out my money and tossed $4 onto the table. Ah, you should have seen them stare. The clerk was astonished and charmed. He asked me to retain one of the dollars as security until he could get to town, and I interrupted. "What, and fetch back 9 cents? Nonsense! Take the whole, keep the change." There was an astonished murmur to this effect. "Verily, this being is made of money. He throweth it away, even as if it were dirt." The blacksmith was a crushed man. The clerk took his money and reeled away drunk with fortune. I said to Marco and his wife, "Good folk, here is a little trifle for you," handing the miller guns, as if it were a matter of no consequence, though each of them contained 15 cents in solid cash. And while the poor creatures went to pieces with astonishment and gratitude, I turned to the others and said as calmly as one would ask the time of day, "Well, if we are all ready, I judge the dinner is. Come, fall to." Ah, well, it was immense. Yes, it was a daisy. I don't know that I ever put a situation together better, or got happier spectacular effects out of the materials available. The blacksmith, well, he was simply mashed. Land, I wouldn't have felt what the man was feeling for anything in the world. Here he had been blowing and bragging about his grand meat feast twice a year, and his fresh meat feast twice a month, and his fresh meat twice a month, and his salt meat twice a week, and his white bread every Sunday the year round, all for a family of 3, the cost for the year not above 62 or 69 cents, 2 mills, and 6 milrays. And all of a sudden here comes along a man who sloshes out nearly $4 on a single blowout, and not only that, but acts as if it made him tired to handle such small sums. Yes, Dowley was a good deal wilted, and shrunk up and collapsed. He had the aspect of a bladder balloon that's been stepped on by a cow. And that is the end of chapter 32.